Hello, this is Dr. Al, and I want to talk to you today about critical incident stress debriefing, disruptive event management, and psychological first aid. They all run pretty close together, and it's something that I provide through our 3 continuum in assisting individuals who have just been robbed or have gone through some form of traumatic event, domestic violence at the workplace, or violence at the workplace, death of a colleague at the workplace, or after work hours, but still a sudden loss. And so I go to the corporation, to the individuals the most directly impacted, and provide psychological first aid, which again is to normalize their reactions to the abnormal event. So we have normal reactions, though they feel abnormal, or that we feel like many times something's wrong with us when we go through the stages of grief or stages of trauma, and we feel like we're doing it wrong because we've never been there before. We're trying to cope with something that's traumatic. And so in talking things through with the employees, usually in a group, and then we break out into individual sessions as they would like to talk to me. Usually those impacted the most are those who've gone through a similar trauma or some type of trauma in childhood, and the event in adulthood or adolescence brings back those unfinished business feelings of the childhood event. Because most trauma in childhood is left unresolved. Most grief in childhood is left unresolved because we expand and exhaust all our coping skills in childhood because we have much fewer coping skills then as we do now. So then we go through the current trauma and it brings back the past traumas. And so then I'll work with the individual that's going through that additional grief or that additional processing, critical incident stress debriefing with them to help process both some of the childhood unfinished business events as well as the current event that they've gone through, whatever it is. So most recently today it was a death of an employee, a colleague, and it involved the death that was sudden and after an event had occurred in the workplace, and then that next day over the weekend they took matters into their own hands. They did not cope well with what had happened and left some more disruptive events for the surviving colleagues to deal with. And I went in and worked with them and helped them process both what had happened and with some of them on an individual basis as they volunteered to meet with me individually, worked with them to process what this event reminded them of in the past and help them process all the feelings that they were being bombarded with mostly anger coming out, both anger at the past events happening and now anger at the current event and being reminded of all that, and also feeling attributional guilt. Many times survivors feel like they did something wrong even if they couldn't have possibly done anything wrong or different. We still tend to blame ourselves, or what if I had done this, or what if this that I did on Friday made what happened on Saturday occur. Things like that, attributional guilt, helping people to process that. And I encourage you, if this is hitting on some things that you've been through or maybe haven't processed, it's unfinished business for you, whether present or past, please reach out, call. My contact information is available, and if not me, some other helping professional that could help you process this, because many times we cannot process it on our own. One thing you can do to help is to keep a journal through your feelings and thoughts as they come up, or use the best ideas process for journaling. My book's available on Kindle for that, or I've done a video on the best ideas that you could watch and jot some notes and then start your journaling from there. So journaling helps. Healthy humor, coping humor helps, but not using the humor to distract yourself from the business at hand. So focused humor, focused talking through things, focused journaling, these things help with psychological first aid, which again is to normalize the feelings that you're feeling, to understand that the stages of grief, the acronym being DABDA, D-A-B-D-A, denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance, those stages you may go through those sequentially, or you may hop around. Or again, depending on unfinished business, if you're stuck at anger from when you were 8 or 6 or 5, and you haven't processed through that, you weren't able to, you exhausted all your coping skills when you were 5, 6, or 8, whatever age you went through the trauma then, you're going to pick up where you left off now in the present event. So if you were stuck in anger then, you'll pick up at anger now. Will be angry at the person or persons that caused the disruptive event, or where the disruptive event just occurred, if it's natural death, and you were very close to that colleague, maybe worked with them 20, 30 years, and now they're gone. We spend more time at work than we do anything else, except sleeping. Sleeping is the only thing that we do more than working, or time at work. So our relationships are pretty vested. We're pretty much like family at the workplace, because we spent more time with them than we have with family. So we're going to go through grief when we lose a colleague, whether again by natural death or disruptive events occur. So we go through DABDA. We'll go through all 5 stages, maybe in order, maybe not in order. But again, that has to be normalized for you. You go through whatever order you need to go through them in. And that's healthy, and that's psychological first aid for you, and process it that way for you. And come out to the acceptance. Now, one thing I recommend is what's called a healing tree. I've called it a healing tree or memory tree. And this is something that I thought of or feel inspired of the Lord to do, and to recommend at several places where I've done grief counseling in the corporation, in the corporate environment. The healing tree is where you get one of those tall photograph trees, they're called, like at Michael's or Hobby Lobby. And they have metal rings at the end of each branch that you can put photos in. And I suggest putting a photo of the person that you're memorializing in the top branch, and then write a note on Post-it notes, just what they meant to you, how they influenced you, what would you have liked to have said to them that you maybe never had a chance to say to them. Or hug them now that you're missing them. Write that on this, and then take the Post-it note and fold it up, however you choose to fold it up, and then put this in the photo rings of the tree, of the 2 rings, and slide it in there, instead of a photo on all the cascading branches, so that you'll have a tree with the person's photo at the top and then post-it notes written that can remain private. And then this could be at the workplace, a memorial to the individual who you just lost, or this could be given to the family members and to let them know what people at the workplace thought of the person whom they worked with. And again, as I call it, the memory tree or the healing tree, or in memorial tree, or in memory of tree. And it's certainly been helpful to those who have tried it at the workplace, and they've said they've received a great deal of healing, catharsis, resolution of grief by trying that method. So I hope that's been helpful, and again, contact me if I could be of help and assistance in any way, shape, or form. Thank you. The Lord bless you. Remember, He's always comforting us. 2 Corinthians chapter 1 says that He comforts us through everything we go through, and then the comfort with which we've been comforted, we can comfort others. 2 Corinthians chapter 1. If you're grieving, I recommend strongly that you look that chapter up and read it. 2 Corinthians chapter 1. The Lord bless you and keep you. Thank you.